Welcome to your magic moon message. This is the Peace Dealer reporting live from the M Resort. Moon in Cancer, Sun in Aquarius. All right. Let me see if I can find a way out of here. But yeah, basically, we are integrating this awakening of power and knowledge that with the 150 degree to 180 degree angle being enacted will help you put together how to feel about this next level of insight that you are being revealed and awakened to. One thing I really appreciate about this Aquarius season energy is that the quality of how this knowledge, appreciate you, the quality of how this knowledge is being awakened and a lot more revealed and understood is so much more profound, especially when you take into account all the pieces that have been set in preparation for you to come into this deeper understanding. And I hope you've been experiencing that too. Certain things that you might have spent the past few months reaffirming, reconfirming, understanding, accepting. It's like you're able to really step deeper into the knowledge of it. And this is what, especially throughout the next 2 days, will make everything click. Okay? There's going to be a very powerful click of not only understanding how to make sense of this, but now integrating the personal feeling of what it is you are being revealed. It's one thing to be aware of something, or it's one thing to kind of have an idea of something. It's another thing to not only know it, but to feel how you know it. To really now come into a personal understanding that really ties together a lot of how you can begin to implement and practice it. So yeah, this is going to prepare for the full moon in Leo, 180 degrees. And by the time the moon is in Leo and you're coming into a courageous and bold golden understanding of expressing this knowledge, you're feeling the passion based on the intellect you're aware of, this is going to really influence quite heavily the nature of how, with the moon in Cancer, you begin to deepen the feeling of how sincerely and personally this means to you. Especially when we take into account how that power and emotional understanding will now strengthen with the courage through the moon in Leo that you can now, of course, add more swag to. So the moon in Cancer is going to be sextile Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus. It's going to trine Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. And this is tying in the metaphysical, unseen dynamics through your imagination and the extra dimensional sudden awakening of natural energy that you tap into much more physically in ways that will, of course, open up how much deeper you can feel it. And I wouldn't even just say understand, but to make this feeling not only personal in your own, but to begin to navigate in your inner world relative to how you take higher knowledge and wisdom and then put it together in your own understanding and feeling once again. In other words, how do you feel about everything that's been revealed relative to this past new moon cycle? This is going to really bring it home. And in this integration with the trine and Neptune and of course Saturn, you're reinforcing beliefs relative to facets of reality you can't see that you'll feel into that right direction. This is going to really transition and shift maybe certain things that were difficult for you to accept that now are more than possible and easy for you to accept because you've been revealed through your own actions, evidence of how much more you're awakening. And with the proximity of Aquarius in the beginning, this is still just the beginning of stepping into this phase. So of course there's no rush and there's nothing that you have to figure out too soon. The moon in Cancer is an intuitive and psychic understanding that will guide your emotions, sometimes outside of your own conscious awareness. So there will be non-linear methods and mechanics to how you literally are able to feel and sense the deeper meaning and now apply and integrate that to the knowledge of what you're going through and what may happen as a result, giving it predictive quality as well. The moon in Cancer in sextiling Uranus and Jupiter and Taurus really just take that natural quality of your five senses being enhanced and adds more to the depth of how powerfully you can feel it. So once again, very, very powerful, very, very relevant, and very, very key, as the moon will square Chiron in the nodes, just to make sure there's, some kind of check put in place so that your feelings are as authentic as they are sincere. And that way you're not necessarily faking the funk or feeling like you have to force yourself to feel a certain way. Chiron in the North Node in Aries will challenge how you authentically feel about what you're integrating, so that if there is anything about it or anything about these experiences that might be off-putting or you may turn you off or you may not necessarily be fired up about, you can address it. As you know, the feelings help you really understand not only how you feel, obviously, but not only like the status of what could be working for or against you, but it definitely gives these indicators within you. So of course what needs to be addressed needs to be addressed. Any kind of outside influences, especially relative to your own desires and instincts that clash and get in the way with how sincerely you really want to feel, make sure that you address this instead of just lash out and project this on other people, because this will really key you in very powerfully to what is unresolved within how you are feeling about these experiences, and at the very least what needs to be addressed sincerely and authentically, not hidden, not changed to make people feel comfortable or for you to not necessarily run away from expressing these feelings. But really, a square like this is just going to add so much more excitement and power, because you're putting a lot back into your own hands as you take back your own power. But this Aquarius season is very, very groovy. We're only just getting started. The signature quality of knowledge and the conviction and the clarity that we are harvesting here, I think, is going to really sow the seeds, or at least prepare for you to harvest so much greater courage to stand firm in what you know and have been being revealed. The moon trining Neptune from Cancer and Pisces is going to also facilitate very powerful synchronicities. And when you remember that this 150-degree angle between the moon in Cancer and the sun in Aquarius is a psychic understanding and an emotional understanding, applying the intellectual Gemini moon understanding of what to think about it. So now you know how to feel about those thoughts you're thinking. And this integration is once again taking this extremely awakened quality of what you're coming to know, and it's going to put together the intuitive revelation of how this will direct the subsequent harvest of this power we activated in Capricorn. A lot of how you personally now establish this balance is going to take a lot of what you couldn't put into words and make sense of, and just like that, have it click. And this is where the connection with the sextile to Uranus and Jupiter and the trine of Saturn and Neptune bring these extra dimensional and more metaphysical through our imagination influences to smooth and make so much more effective the quality of this integration. This is what's going to add a sudden quality of awakening to put all these realizations you've had together, as the full moon, if anything, is going to represent you finally putting the final puzzle piece together and knowing the image of the puzzle. And then the full moon in Leo, we go on stage and we're like, look at my puzzle that I completed, so that we can now complete this and put it in a bigger collective puzzle. And building a puzzle versus looking at the completion of the puzzle, of course, is distinctly different. While you're building it, you still haven't completed it, and you still have to put more pieces together, versus a period like now where you're finally knowing the quality of the puzzle because you've finished putting all the pieces. We can look at this as every year from Aries to Capricorn season, the 0 to 9 or 1 to 10 complete set. And in coming into a much more extraordinary knowledge of who you are, what you're meant to do with who you're meant to do it with, this enables you to not be so triggered or influenced by, projection of negativity and forces that just want your attention. This, in integrating this quality of knowledge, is going to be very empowering, exhilarating. For example, because I feel like at this point, many of you have been revealed more confirmation for maybe seemingly fantasy or science fiction-esque or even realistic qualities of things that you may think are too good to be true, that you may believe, but you may not know how to feel about it. You may not necessarily how to know how to accept it. Not that you disbelieve, but like, how can I make this more real? And that's what this transit is going to do, so that you can take this intertwining of how to feel about it and present that socially to other people courageously, knowing what you're saying, not feeling like, okay, am I wrong about this? So yeah, if you're ready to feel why it's right for you to feel this, continue to be guided along the sincere direction of your emotions, which means not what you're expected to feel. This has to be raw, this has to be original, and that's going to be your guide, so that anything that needs to be resolved and comes up, you can resolve it. I hope you enjoy this transit. Definitely going to shift gears as soon as we step into full moon, so prepare for blast off in a different sense, or at least for harvest in this case. You guys stay blessed as always, and until next time.